Have you ever pondered why some European countries are wealthier than others, despite being part of the same economic system? In the grand tapestry of Europe's economy, a multitude of threads intertwine, each representing a unique nation with its own economic narrative. Yet despite this shared fabric, the wealth and prosperity of these nations vary considerably. Consider the key indicators of economic health. Gross domestic product, or GDP, which measures a nation's overall economic activity. Per capita income, reflecting the average income per person. The unemployment rate, giving us a glimpse into the job market's vitality. And let's not forget poverty levels, a somber reminder of the economic disparities that persist even in the wealthiest of nations. Now imagine you're comparing two European countries, say Luxembourg and Bulgaria. At first glance, you might notice the stark difference in their GDPs or per capita incomes. But what does this tell us? Is Luxembourg simply a wealthier country than Bulgaria? Or is there more to the story? The truth is, these indicators, although useful, barely scratch the surface of the complex economic realities at play. They don't account for factors like cost of living, quality of public services, or income distribution, all of which significantly impact a nation's economic health and the well-being of its citizens. So, why do these disparities exist? The answer is multifaceted, involving elements like historical legacies, natural resources, and policy decisions. It's not merely a game of numbers, but rather a complex puzzle of interlocking pieces. As we delve deeper into this topic, we'll start to see that these disparities aren't just about rich and poor countries. They're about how wealth is distributed within nations, about opportunities and barriers, about the social contract that binds a country's citizens and their government. So buckle up as we embark on this journey of discovery. We're about to dive headfirst into the captivating world of economic disparities, exploring the hidden nooks and crannies of Europe's economic landscape. As we peel back the layers of Europe's economy, we'll uncover a stark truth. Not all nations are created equal. To understand the economic disparities, we first need to compare the nations on similar grounds. Now let's bring our focus onto the top 10 wealthiest European nations. When we look at these nations, it's not just about their grandeur or opulence, but also about their economic indicators. These indicators give us a more nuanced understanding of their economic health, and they're what we'll use to compare these nations. Let's start with industrialization, a significant factor in a nation's wealth. The industrial sector's contribution to the GDP, the level of technological advancement, and the quality of infrastructure are all telling indicators. For instance, Germany, with its robust automobile industry and advanced manufacturing sector, stands out. On the other hand, countries like Luxembourg, despite being one of the wealthiest, have a smaller industrial sector, relying more on the services sector. Next, we have education. The education level of a country's population is closely tied to its economic prosperity. Countries with high-quality education systems, like Finland and Denmark, often have a well-educated workforce, leading to higher productivity and innovation. This in turn results in a higher GDP per capita. Political stability also plays a crucial role. A stable political environment is conducive to economic growth. It reduces uncertainty, encourages investment, and promotes sound economic policies. Switzerland, known for its political stability, serves as a prime example. However, even among the top 10, not all nations enjoy this stability to the same degree. Lastly, let's not forget about the role of natural resources. Some nations have been blessed with abundant resources, like Norway with its oil reserves. This natural wealth significantly contributes to their economic standing. Now, when we compare these nations using these factors, we see a varied picture. Some nations excel in one area but may lag in another. This comparison helps us understand that the wealth of a nation is not simply a function of its GDP, but depends on a complex interplay of many factors. It's clear that even within the top 10, there's a vast range of economic realities. Now, let's turn our gaze to the nations that aren't as fortunate. To fully understand the economic inequalities within Europe, we must examine the struggles of those at the bottom end of the economic scale. These countries, while rich in culture and history, often grapple with economic challenges that hinder their growth and development. Let's delve into some of these challenges, beginning with high unemployment rates. For some nations, unemployment is a persistent issue, casting a shadow over the livelihoods of many citizens. This isn't just about numbers on a chart, it's about people unable to find work, families struggling to make ends meet, and young people whose futures are clouded by uncertainty. Next, there's the issue of low per capita income. In these countries, the average income per person is significantly lower than the European standard. This isn't merely an economic statistic. It's a reflection of the daily struggles of individuals who work tirelessly, yet still find it difficult to afford basic necessities like food, housing, and healthcare. We also need to consider struggling industries. In many of these nations, industries that were once thriving are now facing severe challenges. These may include outdated infrastructure, lack of investment, and the exodus of skilled workers seeking better opportunities elsewhere. This industrial struggle is not simply a business conundrum. It's a national crisis that exacerbates unemployment and low income, creating a cycle of economic hardship. However, it's crucial to remember that these nations are more than just their economic struggles. They are lands of resilience, strength, and potential. Their people are not merely victims of economic hardship, but survivors navigating through adversity, innovators seeking solutions, and dreamers aspiring for a brighter future. These countries remind us that economic prosperity is not a given, even within Europe. They highlight the importance of addressing economic inequalities and striving for a more balanced and inclusive economic landscape. For in understanding their struggles, we gain a more complete picture of Europe's economic realities, and in doing so, we may just find the keys to creating a more equitable future. But what leads to such stark disparities between European nations? Well, to understand this, we need to delve into the historical, political, and geographical factors that contribute to economic inequalities. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, each layer revealing a new facet of the problem. Let's start with history. Europe's past is filled with colonial pursuits and conquests. Nations like the United Kingdom, France, and Spain amassed vast wealth through their colonies, giving them an economic advantage that persists to this day. Conversely, nations that were colonized or under foreign control, such as many Eastern European countries, had their resources exploited, which left them at a disadvantage. Now, let's shift gears to political instability. Europe's history is also marred by conflicts and wars, which have led to drastic shifts in power and wealth. Political instability, whether it's due to war, corruption, or ineffective governance, can cripple a nation's economy. It discourages investment, disrupts trade, and stifles growth. Countries that have experienced significant political instability, like Greece or Ukraine, often struggle with high levels of economic inequality. Lastly, we can't ignore geographical factors. Natural resources, climate, and geographical location play a crucial role in a nation's economic prosperity. Countries blessed with abundant natural resources, favorable climate for agriculture, or strategic location for trade have a leg up in the economic race. On the flip side, nations that lack these advantages, like landlocked countries or those with harsh climates, often face economic challenges. But it's important to remember that these factors are interconnected. A nation's history influences its political landscape, which in turn can affect its geographical advantages or disadvantages. It's a complex web of interrelated factors, which makes addressing inequality a challenging task. These factors underline the fact that economic inequality is not an accident, but a product of complex historical and political factors. And as we continue to peel back the layers of this onion, we'll find that the root causes of inequality run deep and wide, affecting not just economies, but societies and individuals as well. So, what can we do to bridge these economic gaps? One of the first steps to narrowing this divide is a shift in policy. Governments must recognize the impact of economic disparities and make it a priority to address them. This could involve implementing progressive tax systems or redistributing wealth more evenly. It might also mean introducing policies designed to stimulate economic growth in less prosperous regions. However, policy changes alone may not be enough. Investment in education is another crucial factor. By ensuring that everyone has access to quality education, regardless of their economic status, we can help level the playing field. We're not talking about just primary and secondary education here, but also vocational training and higher education. By broadening access to these opportunities, we can empower individuals to improve their economic standing. In the same vein, fostering economic cooperation between nations can also play a significant role in reducing these disparities. Countries can share resources, expertise and technology to help less affluent nations catch up. It's not about charity, but about creating a more balanced economic landscape where all countries can thrive. Let's not forget the role of international organizations like the European Union. These bodies have the power to influence policy, provide funding for development, and facilitate cooperation between nations. They can be instrumental in driving efforts to reduce economic inequalities. But it's important to remember that this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Each country has its own unique circumstances and challenges. What works in one might not work in another. So it's crucial to take a tailored approach, one that takes into account the specific needs and conditions of each country. While the path to equality may be long and winding, understanding the root causes is the first step towards a more equitable Europe. We must strive for a future where everyone, regardless of their economic status, has the opportunity to thrive. And that starts with us, here and now, recognizing these disparities and working towards solutions.